the best part about the free clinical shadowing is that it really transports you out of your home, your bedroom, wherever you may be, into a hospital setting with other people. The fact that we get to dialogue and converse with other pre-meds, other medical students, or doctors while we are observing a clinical setting, I think is the best part of the clinical shadowing opportunity online. There are so many ways in which this online shadowing is so much better than the in-person shadowing I have done, especially in a current time. First of all, we get to watch these ReelDx videos that are they're very efficient in what they do. They're short, but they can also be long, so there's different times of them, but we can also see in writing the vitals or the diagnoses made, and there's just way more clinical information that sometimes is difficult to ask or get from a doctor or nurse or provider when you're doing shadowing in person because you don't want to disturb their flow or get in the way. And so by doing shadowing after the patient has already been assessed and decisions have been made, it allows for a greater learning opportunity. And there's more free opportunity to just ask questions and converse with our peers and really, and even do a little bit of searching or Googling on our own to get, to just learn more and be more enticed by what we're viewing. And I think it takes shadowing to a whole nother level where we're not just shadowing to watch and to observe, but really to learn both the bedside manner and also the more biological and physical side of medicine. And I think one thing that's really special about the clinical shadowing is that we get to bring in our own views and values and personalities as pre-meds into a clinical experience. We're able to ask questions to the doctors. Well, how could you take into implicit bias here? How can you think about public health here? How can you think about, policies or insurance? And oftentimes when doctors are in the emergency room or on the floor, they can't answer all those questions. There's just not enough time, even if they want to. And by doing this shadowing sort of separately, we're able to ask those questions and dive deeper into the wholeness of medicine. And I think that has been so eye-opening and has really inspired me more to go into medicine, being able to connect what I have learned before medical school to what I will be learning and how I will be practicing. The clinical shadowing using RealDx technology is definitely preparing me not only for medical school, but to be a better practicing physician. Um, the work we're able to connect, what we already know as pre-meds, whether it's our basic bio backgrounds or chemistry, understanding. We're able to connect that to what may be going on with the patient that we're viewing. And then we're able to bring in our, personalities and more our, other competencies as well into what it means to be a physician. We're able to ask questions of, okay, well, how can we bring in sort of a more empathetic side to this story, or how can we bring in more knowledge or resources for the patient? And we're able to talk to doctors about what they would have done in this situation as well, since the videos we're watching are pre-recorded and they've been done by other doctors in other facilities. So we're able to learn a little bit more about different types of hospital systems, different types of patient interactions, and it really is preparing me the best for medical school and for my medical school applications, because while I'm sitting at home and it's difficult to go places and it's difficult to get opportunities, we're being constantly reminded of why we are in this process, why we are the pre before med, because there is this incredible world of medicine and patients to get to serve, and we are building towards that. So creating that connection to medicine from my childhood bedroom I is incredible, and it reminds me of why I am, doing this application process and why I want to be a doctor again and again. And I think that's the best part about these clinical shadowing. It's reconnecting me to the work I have done and to the work I want to do. I think shadowing is so difficult to do in the time of a pandemic when we want to social distance as much in general, but especially in hospital settings, especially in, um, you know, where people are being treated. And so having extra personnel, even though we want to learn and observe, it's just not feasible. In fact, it's the right thing to do to not shadow in a time like this, because we have to, we have to put our patients first and put the pandemic first. And so it's really bolstering my application because I'm able to get that clinical experience while, still being at home, while still not being able to go physically to a place and get that experience. I'm able to do it in other ways. And it's it's really not interfering with what physicians are doing day to day as well, because these videos have been pre-recorded and they have been set up to be lesson plans, and that really creates for, more of a dialogue, a conversation, more of a class setting. And that way physicians who right now are on those front lines and nurses who are on those front lines don't have to take away from their work that is so important right now to help pre-meds. And as important as that is, when it comes to a time of emergency, it's important for everyone to realize, first is the patients are going to have to come first. So I'm able to get that clinical experience that is necessary to open our eyes as pre-meds to the world we're entering, to make sure we're ready to be physicians and we're ready to face the challenges that may come when we interact with patients and experiences and, stories that we have not before. And that's really important. When I'm viewing a ReelDx video and I see a patient with a condition or a story that I haven't ever encountered before in my life or in another setting, I'm learning something new. I'm learning something that's going to stick with me when I enter medical school. I know I'm going to be thinking about, oh, well, why did that physician do that test when that person came into the emergency room? And now I'm going to be learning about it in medical school. And I think maintaining that connection when we're unable to go into a actual hospital or place of medicine is excellent. On top of that, being at home, we're able to take notes. We're able to, we're able to search the things we want to search. We can have, there's just more tangible, there's more tangibility to the shadowing we're doing. And that's not always possible when we're on a hospital for 8 hours a day, walking around with the residents or the doctors or the nurses. And we're really able to get to efficient and really substantive shadowing, right from our computers wherever we may be. Another great thing about the clinical shadowing opportunities is that we are able to talk to actual doctors and medical students who have gone through the process that we are going through right now. Of course, in different situations, we're currently in a pandemic, but they're able to connect the videos we watch and the lessons we get from ReelDx to actual situations they have been in as med students or as doctors. And learning from their experiences really adds on to the shadowing, because we can pick at their brains of, okay, what could have been done otherwise, or when do you learn about this in medical school? And being able to have those sort of stories of theirs allows me to write that in my application as well, saying, well, I know med students learn this in medical school, and I want to learn it. So I want to go to medical school to learn that and then practice with that knowledge as a physician. And that's been actually really incredible. I think one thing that can become sort of an illusion is going to medical school to learn more science to then practice it. But in actuality, we're going to be learning how to practice medicine and then be able to actually practice that. And hearing that from actual medical students and actual doctors who have also been pre-med in their lifetime, who know how difficult it can be to be pre-med, know how worth it is to get across that obstacle. And so seeing them on the other side only makes me want to get there and get there in the best way possible and, be there. So that aspect has been the best for me during these virtual opportunities, because it almost just doesn't exist when you have to, be safe and be at home and not be able to talk to your mentors all the time or go to hospital centers.